Okay, here we are with Sekiro. Specifically, the last boss of Sekiro. Now, good news is, there's a pretty easy way to do this boss fight. Bad news is, it's very time consuming. You can see, this video is basically the boss fight and it's over 10 minutes long. But first part is Janichiro. As long as you know the mechanics of the game, this should be no trouble for you. You should get out of here either unscathed or basically unscathed. No problem. It's a good test, actually, of your ability to do the mechanics of the game. Now, this next part, okay, all we're doing is waiting for him to do an attack, and then you get behind him and hit him once or twice. Sometimes you can hit him twice, sometimes once, sometimes even 3 times, but that's rare. So, and that's all we're doing here. But now that we're done with that, I wanted to talk about this game a little because, quite honestly, I'm not a huge fan of this game. I think it is the least of the modern FromSoft games. Now, part of that is this is not a true Soulsborne game, or Souls-like, or whatever term you want to use. It's just a very hard action game. It has no RPG elements of any kind, no character customization, no stats really. I mean, technically your attack increases after boss fights, and you can make your health bar a little longer, but you're not given any options in how you play. And I think this boss fight is actually a really, really poor way to end the game, because I don't really think it tests you on your knowledge of the mechanics. The first part does when you're fighting, what's his name? Jenny. But when you're fighting him, it's okay, deflections and dodging and everything. Perfect. Actually a very good test, because the deflections in this game have a very, I'd say, precise timing, but it's consistent throughout most of the enemies. But then you start this guy, and the timing for his deflections are completely different. And it's like, well, we've had these other deflections that you've done with literally every other enemy in the game. And no, can't count on that here. If you try to do deflections and fight him regularly, I tried that for a good 15 hours before I was like, you know what? I think I know how to do this. And this is not doing it perfectly even. But the strategy I talked about, as we get to each phase, while it does take a very long time, you see it is effective. But this is literally a game I'm never going to play again after finishing it, which you see in this video I do. And, but really I found this game really unsatisfying, because it did not scratch my need for a Souls game. Which, admittedly, I don't think they ever said this was a Souls game. But you kind of assume it is when you saw the early stuff. Or I did, anyway. Because right before I played Sekiro here, I was playing The Surge 2. Which, if you're looking for a good Souls-like game to play, Surge 2, highly recommended. Much more so than Sekiro here. If you're looking for something that's more like a really hard version of Zelda combat, that's what Sekiro is. Okay, now we're almost done with him, and you've seen the way we're doing this. Just waiting for him to attack and slowly chip away at his health. And I'm not sure why I paused there. Oh! Someone came in and said something to me when I was recording this, and I had to pause it. And I'm too lazy to snip that part out, so it would have looked weird too. You'd see there was a cut there. So yeah, now the second phase. They can get a couple early swipes in them like that, but it's barely worth it. Okay, now here's where the loaded umbrella comes into play. All we're doing, waiting for him to do the jump attack with the spear, not that attack. waiting for him to jump with it. And as soon as he does the jump, get the umbrella out. Because most of the time does the jump, and then here you see, he either pulls his gun out, or he will swipe you twice with the sword. Either way, wait for him to do what he's going to do, then hit him with the attack from the umbrella, and that's it. You can do this for both the phases of this fight, the last two phases here. And yeah, it's time consuming. Also, to have enough charges, you will need to use the little, whatever it's called, to get trade health for extra seals. But I think every strategy for this boss has you doing that, so if you got to this video, you've probably seen a few other videos. And they did it way better than I do, because it's not a perfect run, which I've already said. Now, there is a slight risk, because you saw it happen a little bit a couple of attacks ago. On a rare occasion, when he does the jumping spear attack, he does a sword attack that actually breaks your loaded umbrella. But he doesn't do it very often so far as I can tell. And I'm not sure if there's a tell to him doing that, because most of the time it's either 4 gunshots or 2 little sword slashes. See, problem is here, a couple times I get greedy. I try to do things other than wait for him to do a jump attack. Which is stupid on my part, because I'd already figured out this is the way to beat the boss, and I was not following my own strategy. And that's stupid on my part. Don't be like me. Be better than me. Yep. Okay, now on to Phase 3. Phase 3 is just like Phase 2, only now he occasionally does lightning attacks, which I screw up deflecting right there. I almost died. Because there is a way you can time to get the lightning, and then you can shock him, and it does a bunch of damage and posture damage. I managed to pull it off in some of my other attempts, but not in any where I was successful, because this is the only successful attempt, because I am not playing through this game again. Possibly ever. Now, I went into this looking for a Dark Souls, and I did not get it. Kind of pissed. No, not pissed, because, you know, I don't want to say that this is a bad game, because it's not. It's just not my cup of tea. It's very timing-based and rhythm-based, and that's not what I'm into. I'm more of an RPG kind of guy. Like, don't put rhythm game. Don't put any elements of rhythm. I have no natural rhythm. I don't want to have natural rhythm. Actually, no, I would like to have some rhythm, but I don't have it. I got no rhythm, and I'm also tone deaf, I learned when I tried to learn guitar as a kid. Like, I could not tell the difference between different chords and how they sounded. Now, the instructor I had said, oh, you just haven't learned how to hear them yet, which that might be true, but like, that came to an end because the guitar lessons were on Friday, and half the time my parents would forget they were going on. And after a whole week of school, in middle school, I just did not want to do anything on Friday night. Like, I just wanted to just do my homework real quick and then just relax. So the idea that I was going to then remind him, oh, hey, we need to go to the music store for my lessons. Yeah, no, that wasn't. It's a digression, but you know, this is a very slow strategy, but it works. Like, it seriously takes about 12 minutes to do, though, but, hey. It's all good, man. Like I said, you need the umbrella, you need the little Tonfa thing that'll give you more seals, and you need the ability with the umbrella to attack after you have it open. I forget what that... Projected force. That's all you need for this. Oh, also, to make it easier on you, you definitely want all the abilities that will give you more seals. I probably should have said that up front, because most people, having heard me just talk nonsensically, aren't going to be listening to any of this. They've turned the audio down. Yeah, almost got this without needing to use a res, but I think that's pretty good. Only used one resurrection on this. I actually debated right here if I should use the little doll that gives you another res, but I didn't. Because I did do that on another attempt where I got this far, and actually taking the time to use the item is what killed me. So this time I was like, nah, none of that. We're playing it safe right now. Or dangerous. Not sure which way that cuts, actually. But yeah, this is a pretty boring technique, but it works if you just want this game done. Now, if you're better than me, and you want to add some deflections at this point, because once he gets to half health in any of his phases, his posture basically stops improving. So if you want to, after you've gotten his health to a certain point, start adding deflections and other things, God bless. That is something up to you. I personally am not good enough to do any of that. I was good enough to get to the end of this game. That's what I was good enough to do. Yeah. Did do a little grinding to get attack power. If you saw when the menu paused, I had my attack up to 16 at this point. And the way I did it was, every time I needed to recharge a resurrection emblem, like when you'd use 2 resurrections in the same run, because, you know, each phase, if you used a resurrection, then you use another one. I would go, and when I farmed to get my resurrections back, I would also farm skill at that point. So it tells you how much I died, because that's the only time I grinded to get skill points for attack power. I didn't set out to do that. It was just, okay. And I would say I literally did this enough that I died to the point that every character who could get Dragon Rot got Dragon Rot. Then I, you know, used a Dragon's Tear, or whatever it's called. Dragon, whatever it was. To get rid of Dragon Rot. And I would only get rid of Dragon Rot when everyone had it, you know, would not do it beforehand, so. That's how many attempts that took, so this was, you know, several hundred attempts, I think. So I think it's every 10 deaths a new person gets Dragon Rot. You know, someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not an expert at this game, clearly. Okay, here we go. See, I'm worried, because I'm like, I've gotten this far before, and choked. Not this time, though. See, now I'm like, worried, I'm gonna go, okay, take a hit. Hit the umbrella, and the fight's over. It kind of feels like this guy should have had some armor on that would have prevented this from happening for him. Although I do appreciate this, where he just accepts his end. Also, I was so quick on the attack, it actually glitched there. You see me attack with the regular sword, so I got it right to this animation. I was so eager to just be done with this.